What's going on, everybody? It is Frankie here. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas hanging out with the family, and hope you had great gifts and everything. Now it's time for football. 2 weeks left in the season. A lot of interesting things happening. Let's get to the picks for Week 17. We start with the Thursday night game, the Dallas Cowboys and the Tennessee Titans. The Cowboys are 9.5-point favorites. If you had doubts about Dallas, honestly, this probably didn't solve all of them because it's like, okay, can you do it in the postseason? But Dallas took on the best team in the NFC, maybe the best team in the NFL, and beat them and overcame two 10-point deficits. The defense showed up late, back-to-back takeaways in the fourth quarter. They're 11-4. They will be no worse than a 5th seed. And they looked great here in this game against Philadelphia, dropping 40 points. Dak had some big moments. And you got to hope that they can get their pass rush going because they didn't get any sacks against Philly, so you got to worry about that. That Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence can step it up here. But the offense looks like it's splendid right now. Tennessee, on the other hand, tough loss to Houston. That's one that one's going to be tough to swallow against such an awful Houston team. But, of course, without Tannehill, no, it didn't get... That was a real marquee showdown on Saturday. Malik Willis and David Mills. Like, that's star power. I'm surprised that game wasn't on Sunday Night Football. But the Titans' pass defense couldn't really get anything. After the Derrick Henry fumble in the fourth quarter, they really weren't able to deliver anything. David Mills scored a touchdown late to win it. So, interesting match here. Tennessee still trying to challenge for the AFC South title. But over the last 5 games, they've really done nothing in that regard. In terms of offense, they've averaged a league worst 5.5-point average in the second half entering this week. They haven't had a pass catcher post 100 receiving yards in 5 games. And yet I'm still taking Tennessee. Still taking Tennessee because 9.5 is a big number, and I'm still expecting some sort of letdown here from Dallas in some regard. So, not that I think Dallas will win this game, but I think this is the kind of game where Tennessee is at home. It can be much closer than people will give it credit for. So I'm going to take Tennessee here, plus 9.5 to at least cover the spread, but I do think Dallas wins this one. Give me the Titans plus 9.5. Falcons, I'll take over the Cardinals, sure. Lions over the Bears. I mean, I will give Detroit... This day had a hell of a run. It's just the weird things about the NFL. You could be the Lions and be the hottest team in the NFL, and then you could lose to Carolina by 14. Bizarre. I am taking the Lions here in this case. I think the Lions are a little bit better. Give me Detroit. The Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are 13.5-point favorites. Thought long and hard about taking Denver here in this one, but then I realized, what the hell am I thinking? Because Denver looks completely and utterly lost. Their offense is a joke. Russell Wilson is stealing money from Denver. It is a really, really bad situation there. Nathaniel Hackett should be one and done. I don't even know if this is this his 1st year or 2nd year? Whatever. He should be gone regardless. And, Kansas City should win this game convincingly. Even though not the most dominant victory against Seattle, not the most offensive explosion they still scored 24, though. But they didn't commit a turnover. They didn't miss any field goals. They didn't commit that many penalties. It was just a solid outing from Kansas City, but not the kind of explosion that we expect from them usually. But I think that'll change here in this game. Denver is just running out the clock. It has been a dreadful, dreadful season for the Broncos. It has been far worse than anyone could have ever imagined. And so I think in this spot, Kansas City, with that offense, will show up here in this game at home and will run Denver out of Arrowhead Stadium. Give me the Chiefs, minus 13.5. The Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. The Dolphins are a point favorite. Interesting one, as Miami is really falling apart here. I saw the Twitter trending yesterday. Tua turned the ball over, which I thought was one of the funnier Twitter days I've seen. It's right up there with pass rush on the ball for Micah Parsons. 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter for Tua. And he's had a good year, but yeah, today's the kind of game that makes you just really step back and go, ugh, he's still a kid. They've lost 5 out of the last. They've lost 5 of 6 games in which he's turned the ball over multiple times. So yeah, you shouldn't turn the ball over there. You really try not to. They get their explosive plays. They had their Jalen Waddle 84-yard touchdown. But apart from that, they really seem to struggle getting like normal scoring drives. They're a big play team, but when they don't have the big plays on the drive, that's when they usually stumble. And we saw that here yesterday against Green Bay. I feel like Green Bay run right back into the NFC playoff picture here. As for New England, another devastating loss. It's been a weird year for New England. Back-to-back devastating. We didn't get to talk about it because I was away last week, busy with videos. But I had the awful loss to the Raiders, which is just inexcusable. And then they had a chance to win this one, come back from 22 down, and then Stevenson loses a fumble and Cincinnati wins it. New England is still alive for the playoffs. They still have a shot, but it's looking far less and less likely. I'm wondering how much longer Belichick's going to put up with this. It's another disappointing year for New England, and although last year they made the playoffs, but this year it's what 7-8. There's just nothing exciting about this team, and I just wonder how much longer Belichick's going to put up with this at the end of his career. But regardless, the Patriots, they need something. They had 70 yards of offense at halftime. Like, this is not an offensive explosive team. And then I'm taking New England because New England is at home. It's a divisional matchup, so I'm leaning the edge to the Patriots there. And Miami this is not a game. This is not a game with two teams that are red hot. This is a game that I will probably be watching very little of on Sunday, on New Year's Day. So in this spot, I will be taking New England. 1 point. I think they cover the spread here. I think they win the game at home. And I think we show a little bit of life here for the Patriots. They don't go down without a fight. I want to trust Miami right now, but just they've 0-4 in December. Not great. Not great for the Dolphins. Give me the Patriots +1. The Indianapolis Colts and the New York Giants. The Giants are 3-point favorites. Don't care about the Colts, especially after we didn't talk about it last week, their 33-point collapse against Minnesota. Jeff Saturday should be fired today. They play the Chargers tonight, so we don't know what will happen there. I don't care what happens to the Colts. For the Giants, it's an exciting time. It's a very exciting time if you're a New York Giants fan. A win, and they are in the playoffs for the first time since 2016. 6 long years. It's been a disastrous 5 years here for the Giants between the McAdoo era, the Shermer era, the Joe Judge era. Just one bad decision after another, and just so many awful losses. And speaking of awful losses, their loss on Saturday to Minnesota was the 3rd time in the last 6 years that the Giants have lost on a 60-yard field goal. Against the Eagles in 2017, the Panthers in 2018, and now the Colts or the Vikings. The Vikings on Saturday. That was a tough one. But, Cordell Flott, an interception slipped through his hands. Jones threw an interception. Ricky James had a drop. Just a lot of big mistakes here, and then that was up with a 61-yard field goal. But, again, they just win against Indianapolis, a team that has been awful, and a team that just blew a 33-point lead, and they will be in the playoffs. And so I expect them to do it here. I'm trusting the Giants. I'm trusting Daniel Jones. I'm trusting this defense. I say they step up. They will win this game, and they will clinch a playoff spot, and there will be celebrations in East Rutherford at the Meadowlands in New York, because I think this will be the time. I mean, I don't know. Do I think the Giants are going to go far in the playoffs? No. But making the playoffs is a victory enough for the season. Give me the Giants -3. The New Orleans Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 6.5-point favorites. Saints are now 6-9. I mean, whatever. They got that win against Cleveland. Taysom Hill ran for most of the game. Did a nice job. 9 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Late interception by Deshaun Watson to get the win here, but I'm not seeing New Orleans as the playoff team. Philadelphia, on the other hand, their second loss of the year, both against NFC East teams. They lost to the Commanders a while back, and now they lose to Dallas. They still have the lead on the number 1 seed, but boy, that was such an easy opportunity for them to lock up the number 1 seed, to lock that down. Gardner Minshew actually played well. Give him credit for that in the face of without Jalen Hurts, but turnovers down the stretch cost them, and they just need 1 win. If they can just beat New Orleans here on Sunday, they will have the home field advantage. We don't know about Jalen Hurts. His status is up in the air as he still recovers from a sternoclavicle joint sprain in his throwing shoulder. We'll see how that plays out. You can hope, maybe you got to hope that Minshew can do something here. A part of me is rooting for New Orleans just because I think it would be way more exciting and great for the final week of the year if it does come down to the last week and the number 1 seed's up for grabs. But I think in this spot, I'm going to roll with the Eagles. I'm going to trust that. I'm going to say that Hurts plays, and even if he doesn't, let's roll with Gardner Minshew here, and I think he'll be able to pull something with the Eagles' talent that he has around him. So I think in this spot, the Eagles win this game, and they lock up home field advantage in Philadelphia. Give me the Eagles -6.5. The Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are 3.5-point favorites. Credit to Carolina in this ugly, ugly division. By the way, the NFC South and the AFC South, just 2 dog bleep divisions right now. This is not a great year for the South. But Carolina, 6-9. They beat Detroit. They hang in there in their bid to win the NFC South. Nice job with the running game. They rushed for 321 yards against Detroit, 240 in the first half. They had a team record 571 total yards. They've won 3 of the last 4. In each of those games, they've had 185 yards or more of rushing. So Carolina, just run the ball. That's what you need to do here. We'll see if they can do that against Tampa Bay, who was 17th against the run. They did give up 200 a couple weeks ago against San Francisco, so they should be able to do that here, and that's why I'm taking Carolina. Tampa Bay's had a lot of ugly wins this year. Tampa Bay's had wins that there was no reason for them to get that done. A lot of comebacks. Brady has shown that despite his really bad season for him, there's still Tom Terrific in there. He's still able to come up with big comebacks, and he did it here again. Down 10 in a dreadful Sunday night game against Arizona. He was able to find a way to get the win. Nice fumble recovery for William Golston. Led to Brady to orchestrate the game-time drive, and then Ryan Suckup hit the 40-yard winner in overtime. If they beat Carolina, they clinch the NFC South, and they will get a home game in the first round of the playoffs. I'm gonna take Carolina. I think Carolina will dominate with the run game. I want to trust Tampa Bay. I want to trust Tom, but I've just seen too many bad performances from this year to have enough faith in them in this spot. So I'm going to roll with Carolina. They're the hotter team in terms of running the ball, and I think that will show here in this game. Give me the Panthers plus 3.5. The Cleveland Browns and the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are 2.5-point favorites. Forget about Cleveland. Washington, on the other hand, still right now the 7th spot in the playoffs in the NFC. They need to win their final 2 games, though, to stay in the playoffs. They need to beat Cleveland, and they need to beat Dallas. I would say it's unlikely. Unless Dallas just decides to take it easy after next week, I think it's going to be tough for them to get both of those wins. This one, I think Cleveland they will get. Against Dallas, I'm not so sure about. Browns have been eliminated. Their struggle against the run, I think Washington will dominate in that spot. But yeah, the Taylor Heineke. Been a rough couple games for him. A lot of red zone issues, a lot of turnovers. They bring back Carson Wentz. They were likely to stick with Carson Wentz here. We're once again going to a season where Washington has no quarterback, and they're going to have to get another one here at the end of at the draft or something. Niners got to Wentz off, and they blitzed him a lot, but Wentz was able to make some good decisions. But still, they lost by 17 to San Francisco. They hung in there against San Francisco, but eventually the Niners came roaring because that's what they do. I'm going to take Washington here, 2.5, and I think... I think this is a spot here where, again, Cleveland will struggle. I think Cleveland will not be able to stop Washington's run. And I think Washington at home, I know Washington doesn't have a home field advantage, but I think in this spot, the fans got to get hyped. Come on, Snyder's leaving. All right, you got to get hyped for that. You might make the playoffs. It's a chance. Got to get hyped for that. I think they will do that in this spot. And I really don't want to pick the Browns. So give me Washington, minus 2.5. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. The Jaguars are 4-point favorites. Jacksonville with a win against the Jets, even though the Jets just lay down in that game as Zach Wilson's Jet career came to a merciful end. That was the end of their 18-game road losing streak. They've added a lot of losing streaks this year. They had a 20-game losing streak to NFC teams. They had an 18-game road losing streak, and that was their first win in a road primetime game in the regular season since 2000. It has been a rough go of it. For Jacksonville, but they got the win there, so props to them. And it looks like they're going to win the AFC South, as Tennessee is lost 5 in a row. Tannehill's out for the year. We could be in a spot here where Trevor Lawrence somehow leads Jacksonville to a playoff spot. The defense has forced 8 turnovers in the past 3 games. So I think in this spot, you got to roll with Jaguars. Even though I know the Texans have been fighting it off, I know that they've been trying. I think Jacksonville in this spot should be able to win this. And if the Jaguars are a game or behind or tied with the Titans, heading into Week 18, their regular season finale against the Titans will decide the division. So that's where they are right now with Jacksonville. I say in this spot, I think they win it. Texans have been pretty awful all season. And again, their defense has stepped it up the game. Trevor Lawrence has looked awesome. I'm so proud of that kid and what he's been able to do after the nightmare first season that he had. The fact that he's been able to turn it around like this, props to him. And it just goes to show his talent. So I think in this spot, Jacksonville gets the win, minus 4. Give me the Jaguars. The San Francisco 49ers and the Las Vegas Raiders. The Niners are 6-point favorites. Raiders are just whatever. Niners, good win. Very good win, and they continue to show that put anyone at quarterback and they'll be just fine. Had a turnover there from or 2 from Brock Purdy, but he's still looking good. I don't trust him totally. I'm not sure, like, if you put him behind, like, and you put him in Green Bay, I'm not sure he'd be doing the same kind of things. But whatever, he's showing that He's not making any mistakes right now, which is all you need for San Francisco. And he's looked good. They are now a game behind Minnesota for the second spot. They need to tie Minnesota to possibly host at least 2 postseason games. Nick Bosa, Defensive Player of the Year. It is all but a lock, it looks like. 17.5 sacks this year. And again, credit to Micah Parsons, but Bosa has been just an absolute force all year long. So yeah, 17.5 sacks, tied for second most in franchise history for Nick Bosa. 2 sacks and a forced fumble on Saturday. He has been unbelievable, and I think he will be great in this game. I think he will lead the Niners to a win, and they'll try to hang on to that. Any chance to have that 1 seed. Give me the Niners, -6. Jets, Seahawks. Seahawks are 1-point favorites. I'm rolling with Seattle here. Seattle's Geno Smith has started turning into Geno Smith, which is fine. We expected it. I don't have anything to say about Zach Wilson. The Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are 3-point favorites. I don't know if Minnesota's good. I still have no clue or not if Minnesota is good. Minnesota has won 12 games this year. 11 of them are in 1 possession. 11 of those wins were 1-possession games. I am not convinced this team is good. They're able to hang in there. They're able to get wins. They're able to pull off the weirdest wins. The win, the 33-point comeback, or the shocking win against the Bills, or against the Giants. They're close games. They're able to get it done, but they're not blowing anybody out, and it makes me really nervous about them come playoff time. And they still have the 2 seed over San Francisco right now, so they got to hold on to that. And that was an impressive one against the Giants, but again, are we sure they're any good? They can't pull anybody out. And I am worried about the defense. They gave up 445 yards, including 330 from Daniel Jones. So that's something that you got to look at and go, okay, maybe that's going to be a problem come playoff time. But the win was impressive. Greg Joseph with a 61-yard field goal. Green Bay, great job fighting back. Aaron Rodgers has really stepped up here. The defense has definitely... It took some time, but they finally figured it out here in the second half. After giving up 20 points, they shut down the rest of the way. 3 interceptions to help pull off the win. They're still in it. They need a little help, but this team was dead in the water a month ago. They've gone from 4-8 to 7-8 now. And you worry about Christian Watson. You hope that he's not out too long. You hope he's not out with his hip injury. But Green Bay's in it, and I will credit them for that. But yeah, I'm rolling with Minnesota. It's going to be a close game, and if it's a close game, genuinely speaking, Minnesota wins those ones. Minnesota wins those games. So I'm taking Minnesota here. In a close, tight game, Minnesota gets the win. Give me the Vikings, +3. Even though I still don't trust them totally yet, in this game I'm going to trust them. Give me Minnesota. Rams against the Chargers. The Chargers are 7-point favorites. The Rams season has been over for a while. Chargers, we will not see them play until later tonight. They play the Colts. They should win that one, I would expect. That's actually one of my locks of the week is the Chargers. Chargers beat Tennessee last week. They had a nice opening drive, nice fast start, and then they really just died the rest of the way. 5 of their 7 drives after their first drive were punts. Herbert threw 2 picks, but they were able to get a couple drives in the fourth quarter, touchdown drive, and then they have Cameron Dicker kick the game-winning field goal. The defense has looked better. The return of Darwin James has certainly helped them. And so now I've got to, now he's got a quadriceps injury, so you worry about that. But whatever, in this spot, Chargers are at home. Rams have been dead. I'm rolling with the Chargers. I'm going to take Los Angeles here to get the win. 7 points is a big number, but I think the Chargers can pull it off. Give me the Chargers -7. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are 3.5-point favorites. That was an emotional win for the Steelers on Saturday night after the passing of Franco Harris, retiring his number. It was not a game that will be in any way, shape, or form as memorable as the Immaculate Reception. That was a really dull game for most of it. But Kenny Pickett really could not get the ball rolling late. But he couldn't get the ball rolling for most of the game. But late, 10-play, 76-yard drive for the winning touchdown to end it. 14-yard catch by George Pickens. Pickett to Pickens to win it, and then they picked off Carr 3 times in this game to keep their playoff hopes alive. I still don't think it's going to happen. They're 7-8, and they're now an underdog here against Baltimore. But although actually, if they beat Baltimore, and then they beat the Browns, who are 6-9, they'd be 9-8. They might get in. They might just get in. They need a little help, but they might get in. So The Ravens are in the playoffs. Congratulations to them. 4th playoff berth in 5 years. But Tyler Huntley is still throwing the ball. We have no update on Lamar Jackson. He should be ready soon. It's a 1 to 3 week injury. So we expect that he's going to be ready soon. And boy, do they need it because their offense has, again, really sputtered. They were 1-4 against the Steelers inside the 20-yard line. Oh, I'm sorry, against Atlanta. They were 1-4 inside the 20-yard line. They've in 3 games without Jackson, they've had 2 touchdowns. So yeah, you better hope that he's returning soon. We don't know if he will. And so for that case, I'm going to roll with Pittsburgh to win this game, or at least cover and make it a close, exciting game. Because I don't trust Tyler Huntley that much. But I'm going to roll with the Steelers here to cover the spread, make it a close game, and win. Give me the Steelers plus 3.5. This is the biggest game of the week. This is the high star power, high octane game that we've been waiting for here. We've got a couple of these games this year, but boy, I mean, Cowboys-Eagles last week was one. This week, this is another. The Bills and the Bengals. The Bills are a 1.5 favorite on Monday Night Football. Buffalo coming off just annihilation of Chicago. I mean, the Bears had this great rushing attack, and they were limited to 91 yards by Buffalo's defense. They gave up 3 yards a carry, and the Bills have now clinched the AFC East, so congratulations to them. Josh Allen, couple bad mistakes in that game. They struggled early, but then they were able to roar late. He threw his first interception since Thanksgiving. He had 2 on the day. But he's thrown 4 of his interceptions have been in the end zone, which is a league high. Not what you want, but you know, if you're Josh Allen, you take that because he's so good in every other aspect. The Bengals, on the other hand, you know, they should have won that game a lot easier. They had a 22-0 lead, and then they let New England come right back. Thankfully, Von Bell forced the fumble to recover, and they did not blow the second biggest lead in the history of the franchise. I don't remember what the other one was. Maybe I can't remember what a bigger lead than that was. But for Cincinnati, I'm sure it'll come to me. But eventually, they now have a shot of that 1 seed of the AFC. Their run game has been an issue. They averaged 3 yards per rushing attempt against New England. They haven't been the same Cincinnati winning game that we expect. So this is a close one. 2 of the best teams in the AFC. I think Bills are 1, Kansas City's 3. It's Bills, Kansas City, Cincinnati. That's how I'd rank the AFC teams right now. So this is a tough one. But I'm going to take Buffalo. Better team, more dynamic team. Allen, I don't think we'll have that many mistakes here in this game. I know it's on the road, but I expect Buffalo to come through. I expect their defense to play pretty well. Not overwhelmingly well, because overwhelmingly well, does that even make sense? Whatever. Because Joe Burrow has been lights out so far, but I think they will make enough big plays in this game to secure a victory. So this will be a battle of titans, but in the end, Buffalo prevails. Give me the Bills minus 1.5. That's it for now, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel and like to see, make sure you subscribe down below for more content just like this every day, every week. NBA videos, baseball videos, football videos. We will have the every touchdown video of the every touchdown of the season will come out not at the end of next week, the week after that. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much. And since I won't see you until then, have a happy, happy new year and have a wonderful 2023. Take care and God bless.